Good morning students. Welcome to the virtual classrooms. We are studying it chapter number 6 thermodynamics. We have studied some of the basic terms. Today we are going to proceed further for some other similar type of term. We are going to study today the first topic, that is related to the isothermal and free expansion of an ideal gas. Isothermal and no, isothermal means, iso means constant, it's a constant and it's a temperature. So we are going to study related to the isothermal expansion. Now particularly this is only theoretical. We don't have any experimental proofs also given to us. It's simply indicated under the condition, isothermal condition. It is told to us T is constant. Now because the T is constant, work will be 0 if external pressure change. Temperature is constant, so no change in the temperature, so there is no change in the pressure also, and as a result we get it as an P external also equals to 0. That means Q is 0. So what does this indicates? That in this condition delta U will be equals to 0 because there is no change in internal energy. Internal energy we know it, delta U, it depends upon Q plus W, and W is 0, Q is 0. So overall change in internal energy is 0. So from this equation delta U equals to Q plus W, we can specify the factors that is related to the isothermal irreversible and reversible changes. We can indicate it as an isothermal reversible and irreversible changes for this reaction, where we indicated the first one for isothermal irreversible, right? What we are going to get it for isothermal irreversible, we can indicate it as Q equals to minus W because delta U is equals to 0. So if we take it 0, so that indicates that Q is equals to minus W, which will be P external V final minus V initial, right? The second point we get it for isothermal reversible changes. For that we will be getting it as Q equals to minus W, which will be equals to nRT ln Vf by Vi. We will be having this equation to be implemented for reversible, that is 2.303 nRT log Vf upon Vi, right? Okay, and the third term for adiabatic condition. For adiabatic change, that means heat is not changed at all. Q will be equals to 0. We know it. Adiabatic means heat is neither absorbed nor released. So Q equals to 0. So delta U equals to minus W, or you can say that W adiabatic. Right? So we get it as 3 different conditions for isothermal expansion of an ideal gas. Right? We don't have any experimental proof, or neither we don't have any theoretical or derivations also. These are the factors that we already studied it. We are simply implementing it for the isothermal expansions. Right? Okay. Next one. The most important of the chapter, the portion, the most important term, that is enthalpy. Right? Throughout the chapter, we are going to come across the word enthalpy. Enthalpy is one of the state functions that we are going to study, the new state function. Which is symbolized by H. Right? Now, when we are talking about the H, how to get the value of H? Actually, we are having an equation. H is equals to U plus PV. But we know that absolute value of internal energy cannot be calculated. Absolute value cannot be calculated. So, as enthalpy depends upon internal energy and absolute value of internal energy cannot be calculated, we can't calculate the absolute value of enthalpy. So we can say that because of it, because enthalpy depends on internal energy and absolute value of internal energy cannot be calculated. Absolute value of enthalpy also cannot be calculated. This is one of the reasons that we are coming across why absolute value of enthalpy cannot be calculated. The answer for this we are going to write in this format, that is absolute value of internal, it depends on absolute value of internal energy and it cannot be calculated, so we can't calculate the absolute value of enthalpy also. Now in that case, if I want to find out the absolute value cannot be calculated, so we can calculate the change in enthalpy. Now if I want to calculate the change in enthalpy, how we are going to get it? We know it that U2 minus U1, we are writing it as Q plus P V2 minus V1. Simply expanding this equation. If I expand this equation, what will happen? At constant pressure, we get it as U2 minus U1 is equals to Q plus PV2 minus PV1. Now take this both the terms on one side and Q equals to, we get it as U1 minus U2 plus PV2 minus PV1. These two are the common terms. These are the common terms. So if I put it as U1 minus PV1, right? We get this term on this side. So Q comes on this side, so it's a minus Q. Minus Q is equals to U1 become positive, U2 become this. We get it this minus U2 minus PV2. Now if I remove this sign, so multiplying it, we get it as Q equals to U2 minus PV2 minus U1 minus PV1. Now see, actually we have written this equation, H is equals to U plus PV. Here it's a U2 minus PV2. So can I write it as H2 minus H1? So what does it indicate? This factor is at constant pressure. Delta H is equals to QP. This is at constant pressure, right? So we get it as the formula for this. So if we substitute the values, what we are going to get it is this equation. From this, can I write it as delta H is equals to delta U plus P delta V. right? We are putting the pressure constant during the reaction. Okay. Now the second step, once we get this, what is P delta V? So for that case, if we take it as the equation, we got it here, delta H is equals to delta U plus P delta V. But now we know it, PV is equals to nRT, ideal gas equation. Okay, if I put it P delta V, so there will be a change in number of moles, because it's for the gaseous component. We are calculating only number of moles of the gaseous component in the reaction. Remember, if we are having liquid or solid, we are not going to consider the number of moles as a change in the number of moles for it. So we got it as P delta V. If we substitute in the given equation, what will get it? Delta H is equals to delta U plus delta NGRT. Right? What does this equation tells me? This is my second equation that I got it. When delta Ng is equals to 0, we will get it delta H is equals to delta U. So when will be the value of internal energy and enthalpy same? If the number of moles, change in number of moles is equals to 0. So those equations which shows the change in number of moles of the gaseous component are equal for the number of moles of product and reactant. Actually this we are going to get it as number of moles of product minus number of moles of reactant. That we are going to get it as delta Ng. Right? So if these are same, we will get it as internal energy and enthalpy same. But if delta Ng it's greater than 0, that means number of moles of product are, what does it shows? Number of moles of product are greater than number of moles of reactant. Then under that condition what will happen? Delta H will be greater than delta U. Under that condition we will get it as delta H greater than delta U. If we get it as delta Ng less than 0, that means number of moles of product are less than number of moles of reactant. So we will get it as delta H less than delta U. Right? So this equation shows that by the help of this we can calculate when will be the value of internal energy greater or when will be the value of internal energy less. Right? Okay. This equation also shows us the equation that we wrote it, delta H is equals to delta U plus P delta V. It also indicates that if delta H is equals to positive, reaction is endothermic. If delta H is negative, reaction is exothermic. Right? What does it shows? Endothermic and exothermic means? Endothermic means energy is absorbed. Right? Now if energy is absorbed, that means the reactant will be having higher energy than the product. And exothermic reaction means energy is released. Right? So we are going to also get this equations that to be used. So for numericals we want to remember delta H is equals to delta U plus P delta V and delta H is equals to delta U plus delta Ng RT. These are the equations of the internal enthalpy, a new state function that we studied it, which we are going to use it for the numericals. Right? The next term that we are going to understand now, that is related to the extensive and intensive property. That is the next term that we are using it. That is extensive and now what are these terms that are indicating to us? These are the two properties that we are specifying it. The first one that we wrote it, extensive property. Extensive property means the property of the substance which depends on the quantity and not onto the method. It depends on the quantity and not onto the method to obtain it. The property of substances which depends on quantity. It depends on quantity. That means, for an example, if I want to calculate the mass, if I am taking a small quantity, if I am taking a bowl of rice and if I am taking it as a pot of rice, so quantity has been changed, so mass of the substance will also change. Similar way, volume. If I am taking it as in 1 liter of milk or 500 ml of the milk, the volume is different for it, right? So it depends on quantity. You can also say it, internal energy. Enthalpy. Entropy, etc. are the similar type of extensive properties, right? In place of that, if we take it as an intensive property, a term of intensive property, what does it indicate? The property of substances which does not depend on quantity, right? For that case, if I take it as an example, refractive index, density, right? Or you can say that pressure, temperature, right? Let's understand that why we use the temperature. If I take it as an, already as I told you, if I take it as an 1 liter of milk and if I take it 500 ml of the milk and put it on the table, what will be the temperature of both? And if I try to measure the temperature, what will be the temperature? Temperature of both of them are going to be same. It's not like that the volume is increased, temperature will change. That is possible only for the gaseous component. We are taking over here solutions, liquids, chemical reactions. So in that case, what will happen? Temperature, pressure, density. If we take it as a cup of water, a bowl of water or a bucket of water, the density of the water is going to remain same, 1 gram per ml. So those properties which does not changes with the quantity, they are all considered to be as an extensive properties. Does not depends, they are intensive properties of the substances, right? Okay, next we are having it as another term, that is heat capacity and the relation for the heat capacity at constant pressure and constant volume. But as already the government has decided the syllabus to be reduced, these particular two topics are not there in your syllabus. So we will, if necessary, we will discuss it later on, right? Okay, next you are also having it as a measurement of delta U and delta H by the calorimeter. That is also a topic that is eliminated from the syllabus. So next, in our next lecture, we will be discussing it related to the enthalpy and calculation, how to calculate the change in enthalpy for the different chemical reactions. But that we will discuss in our next lecture. Till then, Thank you.